on your roll, try to 3/4 roll. Okay. You're doing like a regular forward roll. Try to 3/4 roll. Okay. Okay. On the next time around. Next. Legs back. Legs back. 1, 2. Get in position, Johnny. Get in position. I was born in Westminster, California. Always lived in Orange County my whole life. I'm an 80s kid, so I can recall not having the best childhood, you know, not the ideal childhood you would imagine. I remember living in a hotel a few years of my life, my early life, until finally my parents were able to get a pretty decent job, my mom and dad. And we finally got a place, and we pretty much lived in Costa Mesa all of our lives after that. I'm an only child. The brothers that I did have, they died at birth. I was basically the very last baby. Call me the lucky one. I barely survived. I was born with pneumonia. The doctors didn't know if I was gonna make it either. School was a little touchy situation for me because from elementary school up until junior high, I was always that, you know, try to get good grades, always, you know, A+ student or whatever. It was when I got into high school when I kind of started steering the wrong direction, you know. I know one thing, wrestling saved my life. If it wasn't for wrestling, I probably would have done something stupid, and I probably would have ended up either in jail or dead. So I'm pretty sure I made the right choice by choosing professional wrestling. My parents at first didn't really like it. My mother was always worried about me getting hurt. And my dad, you know, he pretty much just said that if this is something that you're gonna do, you know, échale ganas and you know, give it all you got.
I met him, I want to say 1998, 97. We were in the same, we were both students in the same Lucha class down at the Anaheim Marketplace.
He was just a kid, you know, he was so much into wrestling. He came to me and asked me if he could, you know, come and watch us train and stuff like that.
Basically, I was walking through and I saw this sign that said "Free Lucha Libre." I walked in, I had a seat in the front row, and I started watching these guys I've never heard of before. Guys like Crazy Cow Haystack and Vic Victory, and then the one that really stood out to me was the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels. You know, I watched him come out and I saw him and I was like, who is this wannabe Shawn Michaels character, you know? He's like nowhere near as good as Shawn Michaels. He looked like him, he acted like him. But, you know, I watched this match and I was like, whoa, these guys are pretty good. You know, why aren't they on TV? Why aren't they like, you know, why aren't they as big as Hulk Hogan or, you know, any of the stars around that time? But after watching my very first match in person, I was like, man, this is something I really want to do.
He's such a smiling dude. He's just so friendly that I instantly felt just as if it was like an old homeboy, to be honest with you. Like I didn't feel any intimidation or anything. It was just we just hit it off. We had very similar styles, and that we like to do some spotty stuff, but also like a lot of movement, you know, trying to really make things newer and be more innovative. And especially at that time when everyone was very much trying to work TV style so they could get jobs, we were just really trying to push the envelope and always trying to do more and better and better. And it was like, can you top that? When you find those guys, you gravitate towards them, and you find you have a lot in common.
I trained with WPW, World Power Wrestling. Their main location was the Anaheim Indoor Marketplace, where the very first time that I got to see a pro wrestling show in person. I actually went to middle school with the owner's son. I saw him wearing a wrestling t-shirt one day, and I pretty much said, hey, you like wrestling? And then he's like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, so do I. And we, you know, just kind of chopped it up from there. And I remember him telling me, hey, well, my dad's a wrestler. And I'm like, yeah, right. You know, I just, some, you know, middle school kid just saying whatever. I didn't pay too much attention to it. Fast forward a little time after, when I finally ended up finding the marketplace, while I was watching that first show in person, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around and I was like, oh shit, and it was my buddy from middle school. He's
he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, my dad owns this place. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you want to meet him? And then that was it. That was when he introduced me to Martin.
I always look for someone to really want to do this because it's not an easy thing. And the first thing I tell all my students is, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I usually tell them, look, I'm gonna train you, but I want you to really want this because it's not an easy thing.
I remember the first day that I went to training, they beat the shit out of me. I did not expect it. I thought it was going to be a lot easier than what it was. I didn't expect there to be so much running, so much jumping, so many rolls. It took me a month to come back for my second day because I had to sit there and realize, I had to think about it really, really hard. Do I really want to go through this? Do I really want to go through this pain? Is this something that I really want to do?
Ultimately, it takes envisioning yourself in that position. It sounds so cliche. It's if you're dreaming this and it's worth it to you, you'll seek out what it takes to make it.
WPW was run almost like a boot camp. We got to have our laughs, but for the most part, it was business. You get in the ring, you do your stretches, you do your warm-ups, you do your rolls, and you get right to work.
We started with just little simple exercises, simple, but again, demanding. Because I thought, well, little by little, you have to start, growing into it. And first, he used to run with us. He used to go do all the calisthenics exercises, all the, aerobic exercising. He didn't get into the ring until much later.
When I first started wrestling, I was wrestling under a mask by the name of Discovery. One of my other trainers was named Adventure. So we had decided that maybe later on down the road, we were going to team up and be Adventure and Discovery. I really didn't want anybody to know who I was underneath the mask, so I just chose that name just to kind of pair up with him. Every Sunday at the Anaheim Marketplace, WPW would run weekly shows there. And they were telling me that somebody was needed for a tag match. And they said that you're going to go in there. They were telling me that I was going to take that spot. And you know what? I said, you know what? I can't. I don't have my gear. I don't have my mask. They were like, don't worry about it. We'll get you some knee pads and some wrist tape and you'll be good to go. I'm like, but I don't have any gear. I don't have any tights. I don't have any wrestling boots. And they looked at me and they said, don't worry about it. You just wrestle like that. And I was like, wrestle like this? No way. And Martin came up to me and said, you know what? You're going to wrestle like that. We need somebody to get in there. You're a professional wrestler. You should be able to go in there and do it with whatever you got on. So I said, all right, cool. But you know what? I can't wrestle like this as the name Discovery. And I just remember him looking at me from head to toe, looking at the way I was dressed. I had Dickies on, I had long socks, and I had a tank top at the time. And he said, you know what? We're going to call you Little Cholo. That's what you look like. You look like a Little Cholo. That's going to be your name, Little Cholo.
I've never seen a more solid worker. He has a way of moving in the ring that it just, you see him and he's home.
There's nothing in the ring that he can't do. I think he's fantastic, and he's certainly, I've used him more than a few times, and he's excellent.
So I would put him with anybody in the ring, and I did. I actually put him with, huge stars of Lucha Libre in the past. He was groomed to be a superstar.
From the very beginning, I felt like I was a little bit of a rebel. I was always told not to go out and venture out on my own. They would always tell me that you're not ready to go out and venture out. At first I didn't get it. Later on with the experience and the years behind it, I started to realize what they were talking about. But I needed to see it for my own. I needed to see it through my own eyes.
When I send somebody out, it's because I'm very confident on their skills and professional wrestling is professional wrestling. It can be really tough out there, and to send new guys, especially him, he was too young. He was too young for me to send him out any place else. He's been like my little brother, and I've been taking care of him like he was my little brother. And of course, I wouldn't let him go yet on his own until he started doing it little by little. But when he actually just started going to different places, he had my full blessing because I knew he could take care of himself and his abilities and his skills were up to par to anybody.
Every chance that I could get, I would take it. A company would come around and they would be like, hey, we got a spot, you want to take it? Sure, no problem. It didn't matter who it was against or where it was, I was going to take that opportunity and run with it. The SoCal wrestling scene is really hard. There's a lot of critiques, there's a lot of judgment here, there's a lot of opinions.
But at the end of the day, like, it can't just be about the money. You have to go in there with the knowledge that you're going to show people what you can do so that you can get to the next one.
So having like a great attitude, like a healthy attitude, a healthy mindset, which also keeps you from being delusional, which is a real poisonous thing to have if you're getting into wrestling, is to be around the wrong type of people who don't have your best interest in mind. But really having a drive. You know, I've slept in my car before I made it to WWE and Lucha Underground and all these places. I've slept in my car at times since, you know, because I'm not above doing what I have to do to get where I know that I can be.
Every company that gave me the opportunity, I was gonna take it. Didn't matter where it was. APW up north in San Francisco, WCWA in San Diego, Pro Wrestling War, Epic, Lucha Libre in Arizona. It didn't matter where it was. I was gonna take that opportunity and run with it. Every company that gave me that chance, I took it. And it was because of that, and it was because of those risks that I took, I was able to wrestle some of the biggest stars in the industry today. Brian Kendrick, B-Boy, Rising Sun, Super Dragon, or El Hijo del Santo, Blue Demon, Vampiro, you name it, I've been in the ring with everybody. You know, it was being able to take risks like this where people would give me opportunities. I never thought I was gonna be able to be in the ring with legends like Sabu. That was in Southgate, California, for AWS. And that match actually won match of the year for AWS.
Alright, here we go. One-on-one contest. Former AWS heavyweight champion Lil Cholo versus the suicidal, homicidal, genocidal, death god, Brian Maniac Sabu.
For those of you who are just being introduced to Sabu, this man has been in everything. Barbed wire match, electrified barbed wire match, exploding cages, flaming tables, thumbtacks, everything. And as a put through tables, he put so many people through tables. It's just, he's done it all. The scars on his body tell a story. And tonight, that story, it starts in this chapter against Lil Cholo. You ready to face
Springboard! Oh, he misses the springboard cross body.
well, fans, it's gonna get messy.
Cholo over our way. Oh my God! And Lil Cholo working on Sabu on the other side of the building. That wooden table, yes, has been brought out from the woodwork. And now,
Beautiful flipping leg drop, signature of Sabu, one of the many, 2 count only.
okay. Sabu setting up that chair. What's he gonna do? Air Sabu! Hey!
Cholo across the face with that flying boot.
Lil Cholo got the chair set up. Whoa! Air Cholo, yeah. Now Cholo catches Sabu with a shot. Sabu fires back. Cholo and Sabu with a kick downstairs. A DDT. Cholo, oh! Cholo gets not launched off the top by Sabu. And Sabu up on the table. Leg drop for the table. Well, thought better of it. And never mind. Clean it up on the top rope. Sabu trying to regain some of his balance up on the top rope. And wow!
Beautiful Huracan Rana off the top. Those have got to be what I think they are.
Yep,
Those are thumbtacks.
What the hell? No.
They're breaking up.
This matchup is going beyond any expectation. Oh my God! Oh no! Lil Cholo has a human pincushion.
Sabu with that slam. Putting Cholo on those thumbtacks.
This could go in a terrible spot right now. Sabu up in the top rope of that chair. Oh no!
Cholo! Put through that table.
He's got to be on 1, 2, 3. It's over.
It's over. What a hard-fought match for Cholo. A valiant effort, but Sabu victorious.
Before going into this match, Sabu, I heard a lot of people talking shit, saying that why does Cholo get to be in the ring with Sabu, this and that. You know what? The shit talking doesn't faze me in one ear out the other. But you know what, Sabu? Being a kid from Orange County, growing up, watching wrestling and watching legends like yourself, is an honor to get my ass beat like you. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, whether I lost or whatever. If I can say I got my ass beat by anybody, I'm glad I can say it was by Sabu.
Who would ever thought that me, Little Cholo, would be in the ring with such an icon like Sabu? I'll never forget this, and it was one of the biggest compliments I'll ever get in my life. After that match, we went backstage, and Sabu came up to me and he said, "You know what? You brought back a lot of memories for me." It was like being in the ring with like Rob Van Dam all over again. And I took that compliment, and I'll never forget it. Sabu, anytime, any place. So basically, after so many years of grinding it out on the SoCal scene and venturing out from here to the East Coast, I finally got my big break. I had heard some rumors going around that there was going to be a big company, a big wrestling company that was going to be featured on MTV. And I had heard some rumors, and I tried to reach out to certain people to see what was going on and see somehow I could get a part of that. When I finally got the call about this project, it was from Kevin Kleinrock. He reached out to me and said, "You know, we want you to be a part of this." And I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "This project is going to be called Wrestling Society X."
I live my life with my palm on the pump action. No time wasted, relaxing, the satisfaction of when lead comes crashing. I'm asking menace and methods, aggression and lethal weapons connect when intentions of bringing you Armageddon setting. Devilish lifestyles corrupting my mind's eye, confined to these times we're living life's wild. Committed vows so flagrant you run your mouths. I break them, temperature rising, motherfucker, now take it. See, there's no way to escape it.